Alright everybody, welcome back to another Alliance War video, Season 39. We have Kitty, Ghost, Quake, Herc, and Torch Band. And it's the first war of the season with a brand new global. And I have Professor X, White Magneto, and Omega Sentinel. I'm starting on Path 5 versus this Mr. Negative. I will not be using White Magneto this war, which is a first. So I am saving a pre-fight here. So all I'm going to really do is just kind of bait heavies and counter build my power, and then heavy when the debuff immunity goes away. Mr. Negative is part of the defender tactic, so he will apply or try to apply a unsteady debuff, which will cause all my hits to glance 100% of the time if I have it up. Any other debuff will increase my chance to glance by 30%. Professor X is detox and a global attacker, so anytime I block a hit or I dex, you see those charges going up, and when a debuff tries to apply, it basically will cleanse the charge. Here I'm using my falter to stack to 100 charges, get the fury up, and now I am going to just get to my SP3 rotation. So this war was kind of stressful. It was the first war of the season. We got planning down, and then I had to go run to meet my newborn nephew, and I was basically over there for quite a long time, but I was assigned to open up section 2. So as soon as that finished, I literally had to I couldn't prep, and I had to just take all my war fights at once. And you'll see why this actually comes back to bite me, because I like to prep for worst case scenarios, what damage rotation is going to work, what I want to do, and I didn't have time for any of that. And my fiance was in the car with me with her dead phone, so she was just staring at me, and particularly in this fight, she was asking me why I was getting hit so much. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just try to get some intercepts and then go for some SB1s to knock him down, and that should, kind of, take him down. But I'm getting cornered here, and I'm like, that's what I don't want right here. I hit 2 hits into his block, and I'm like, okay, great. I can back him up a little bit more, and I just don't want to get cornered with that heavy unstoppable, because that would be pretty deadly. I get an intercept here, and I'm like, okay, throw that SP1, and I'm just trying to see if I get the fury up, and if I can do some damage. But he throws his SB1 and basically kills the length of my fury. I get an intercept right there. I'm like, all right. And he purifies my stun. Thank God I didn't try to heavy there. And he's just SB1, happy right here. So trying to hit into his block once and then parry his light to see if I can get an opening that way, and it kind of works. And so here the heavy takes too long, but I still get it, so I get the fury. I'm like, all right, perfect. I need to get an intercept here, and I do get one. And I throw my special 2 just to do some damage while my fury is up. In hindsight, I should have just gone to my special 3, but because I wasn't sure, like I was all over the place with this. I was like, okay, well, what am I? Should I try to knock him down? Should I try to should I try to go SB2, SB3? I was like, okay, well, here I get my armor ups get a parry. I'm like, perfect. That kind of helped for an opening. I'm like, all right. Here I'm like telling myself there's 3 minutes left. I got to I'm gonna go for my special 3 and get that going, and just let the 6 incinerates kind of trick him down. If I can keep them paused, then great. So I don't know what was happening. I was just trying to look and think of a bunch of different things in this fight. So I was getting hit by the SB1, which is not normal for me. There I get an intercept. I'm like, okay, perfect. I throw my SB3, and I didn't want to get the protection down, because then the protection will pop back up and purify my incinerates. So I'm like, all right, they're ticking away. I need to get an intercept and end with light to keep them paused, and I do. So I'm like, okay, perfect. And then I'm gonna go here. They're still paused. The next parry that I get, I'm gonna try to get a here I knock him down with an SP1. That's what I did, and the fury comes up, and now he's taking for a lot more I think like 1500 a tick. I'm like, okay, perfect. But I can't pause the incinerates, unfortunately. But I look up at the clock and I have 2 minutes, so I'm like, okay, I have 2 minutes left. I just need to get him down, and I just need to get an opening. I get an intercept here, and did not want him to throw his special one. I hit again with that last hit, so I'm like, okay, I just need to get an opening and throw the special one, and that's gonna get my fury up, and it's gonna do some damage. So again, I did not want him to throw that special one, but he threw it, so I just need to get it. But this is perfect. I get that intercept, and I get a little bit of some damage. He's almost dead. Here I'm not worried at all. I get another intercept and he's down, so I'm like, okay, perfect. That was a lot more stressful than it needed to be. I definitely could have played that better, and I'll you know, think about that again and see what I could have done much better. But anyways, now we got this domino. I have a white magneto pre-fight here, the first one I'm using, so I'm gonna parry heavy, and the plan here is just to watch her when she goes unlucky. So when she goes unlucky, just basically don't hit her and wait it out, and her prowess will build throughout the fight. I'm building to my my special 2, and that should be do some substantial damage. So remove a little bit of prowess right there. I'm gonna heavy right here. She's under a bar. I'm gonna see if she goes lucky or not. She doesn't, so I throw my special 2, and it just does you know, a massive amount of damage. She's not she's debuff immune when she gets knocked down, so I don't apply any incinerates, but that doesn't matter. So again, here I'm gonna parry my heavy, and I'm going to push her over a bar, and as long as she doesn't go lucky, I'm going to throw my special 1 now to do some damage. This fight was much easier, but you know, without my ability accuracy getting reduced by domino, it's just kind of, you know, it's just kind of simple. So there we go, just 10k medium to end it, and we're on to the next one. Now this is a hazard shift mini. Claire is a global attacker, so Unsteady debuff on her specials. She'll throw a debuff immunity, a buff immunity debuff on her special 2, and obviously I'll get incinerated and or poisoned or shocked if you know, off contact. So what I'm doing, I'm just gonna parry heavy, because every time I parry, I get a detox charge, and then if I do get a debuff, it'll just cleanse it. But what I did want to have is, I always wanted to have a detox charge up when she had 1 bar of power, because then she would have thrown that special 1. I can dex it, but I would have had some bleeds, and then insult to injury comes into play, and I can't parry effectively. But that didn't happen, and I throw my first SP3, and it you know, it connects, do quite a bit of damage. Now I was afraid I would get a debuff and it would glance, but I did get shocked here, and you'll see that it still glances, but it still does 94k damage, so nothing to worry about, and the last, you know, special 3 will end it. So that went smooth. Now the next fight, I was a little unsure how it was going to go, and again, I couldn't fully think about or prep what my preferred rotation is, and I don't like just winging it, but the plan was basically to try to push him to a special 2, and then from there parry, you know, parry heavy to build to my 100 charges. I wanted to throw a special 2 earlier in the fight to just do damage, and then see where the damage and where it was going. I just didn't want him to throw a special 1 because of bubble shield, and I wanted to have a detox charge up in case I was rooted. So I was like, okay, I have a white manual pre-fight just so I can hold heavy longer and charge faster. And at the beginning, see, I mistimed that. I should have just hit him once or twice under, you know, and then backed out and done a full combo to push him over to 2 bars. So okay, I eat that that special 1, gets rid of my indestructible. I'm like, all right, well, here I'm like, all right. And right there I realized that I could have pushed him over to you know, 2 bars, and it's power focus too, so I'm just gauging how much power he gains off of this, and I'm like, all right, here I just want him to throw that special, And it happens right as I'm gonna get rooted, so I'm like, ugh. But I had my Fulcher there, so it could have saved me if he did try to connect that heavy, so that's fine. And here, I'm like, alright, I'm almost at 100 charges. And I dex out of that last bubble shield unblockable, so that was good. And I'm just trying to get him his first life to die, so I can go to my SP3. So at this point, I'm kind of figuring out the rotation to get him to 2 bars. You see right there, I held my block, baited it heavy, and then I pushed him. I'm like, all right, perfect. So here I'm like, okay, bubble shield, I saw that, and I dexed it out of it, and I'm like, all right, perfect. I just need him to die, and he just didn't get a crit, and I'm like, all right. So I got a crit there, and I'm like, okay, just kill him. And here, finally, I'm gonna push him over 2 bars, and at this point, I need him to throw this special relatively quick. So I'm gonna get rooted, so I want to dex again. Now I want him to throw the special before, you know, I want to have a detox charge, but then I get rooted here, and I'm like, So I dex all of that while rooted, so I'm like, okay, at this point, I'm just going to throw my special. He's degenning enough, and the fight is over. So watching this back, it actually wasn't too bad. I could have got started into pushing him to the SP2 much sooner, but it went fine after here, you know, special 3 spam, running mutant boost. So the next fight I have is the Power Snack, Power Sting Mini going up 456. It's a Mordo. So I'm going to drop a White Magneto pre-fight, and I'm going to use Omega Sentinel. I use Omega Sentinel versus Mordo a bunch during Conduit, and now I don't have to worry about heal blocking him or anything. And I can incinerate him, so I can knock him down. So at this point, just popping indestructibility boost in case he happens to go red. Also throwing on an SP3 protection boost, just in case. And yeah, this is just gonna be, parry, 5-hit combo. Try to get the 3rd parry combo with his power gain, so I can turn off the power gain buff. You'll see here. Slow play it a little bit, make sure I get it, and it does. So I'm like, okay, dex that, and just, she's doing more than enough damage here. So I just can't throw my specials because of the power sting. So I heavy there to get rid of it, and he hits me with a special 3. I probably could have saved an indestructibility boost here, but it's fine. I should have heal blocked there. Or I did heal block because he had that regen on from the special 3, and I'm like, okay. So heavy there, and he throws a special 1, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. If I can just kind of get the power sting off of me, I can kill him. But at this point, I'm realizing he's just going to go down anyways. So that fight was relatively easy. Now this next 2 fights, when we were doing assignments, we were trying to figure out what to send over here. And then I mentioned that somebody can use X, but I was on path 5, and we just decided that I can take it with X, because in theory it should work. So I parried and hit into her miss to get rid of her invisibility, and then I'm trying to get my vigilance up so I don't miss anymore. And then the plan after that is just to make sure I have a detox charge up, and then I heavy her, and basically when she throws her special 1, just have a detox charge up, which is relatively easy to do because you can dex as you bait. And that way I don't get any debuffs. So right here, I don't want her to throw her special without dexing. I'm like, okay. So she throws her special there. Everything gets shrugged, and she's just not going to go unblockable per the node. So everything is going, just fine. With Invisible Woman, I don't ever actually worry about her force field, and here I have a debuff on me, so I'm not throwing my special 3 because I want to get rid of it, and it does go away right there because I don't want to glance. And now it's just SP3 cycle. So this fight is essentially over. Now the next fight is Null on path 4 in section 2, and the thought process, I've taken some Null bosses in the offseason with X, and the thought process was to dex and remove his Living Abyss, and then easier than the boss. I can parry heavy. However, I didn't take into account that I will get armor broken for dexing. So what I didn't realize this in the fight. I realized it after when I was talking to my BG mates. So when I was fighting him, I noticed that the abyss charges were not being removed, and I wasn't sure what was going on. So I just went, it's like, okay, if I can't remove them, I just need to build to my special 3 and use my falter to build my charges, and go from there. So right there I'm like, wait, removed? Why is it being removed? And that's because the node is like right here. I should have actually just waited for the armor break to land, and then I would have been fine. But I'm not sure what's going on. I have 3 right now, and I'm like, okay, well, they are getting like taken off. I lose my indestructibility boost. I'm like, well, I don't want to get caught in this corner. So I'm like, okay, I need to push him back, and I need to push him back, get him to his SP2, and counter it. And at that point, I can get into my rotation. So at least I have willpower helping me out right here. I'm like, okay, at this point, he throws his SP2. I dex it, and I come in and counter, and I'm like, all right. And he throws this, but now all of the charges are off me. So I'm like, all right, perfect. I can essentially parry heavy now, and I'm like, this is what I wanted from the get-go. So I mistimed that because he goes into corruption mode, and he's unstoppable. But it doesn't really matter because I was at my SP3 anyways. So at this point, the fight is over, and I can start driving back home instead of having my fiance basically glare at me while I'm doing all these 8 fights in a row when we should be on the road. But X is absolutely great for this global. If you can have some mutant boosts and kind of play accordingly, he can just spam a bunch of fights. So let's take a look at the stats now. And here's the final score. We did end up winning. Shout out to our MVPs, B McG, the B Manny, and I managed to get on there somehow. Good war to J-Win, and off to war number 2.